and welcome to the Adrienne Ross Show, where sports and culture connect. I hope you're having a wonderful day so far and that it continues. I just got home just a little while ago from church. We had our candlelight early Christmas service. It was beautiful. And now I'm here with you to talk a little hoops. How many of you got to watch the USC versus UConn women's basketball game on Saturday night? I went live for that. We had a good time during that live stream for sure. I want to give you some of my thoughts on that game and, of course, the two players many people really wanted to see go head to head. Well, I'll start with the end of the game, and that is the final score, USC 72, UConn 70. And when you hear a score like that, you tend to think, my goodness, that must have been quite a battle. And it was a battle. But for a long time, there was quite a distance between these two teams. I remember USC being up 18. Someone in the live stream said 20. It may have been 20. I just remember the max lead being 18. JuJu Watkins came out hot. She was knocking down shots. She was hitting threes. Paige Bueckers, not so much. And like I said, it was an 18-point lead. But you know what? Basketball is a game of runs. And you got a team like UConn with a coach like Gino Auriemma, with a player like Paige Bueckers. They're going to make a run. And they did. We were talking about in the live stream, like, what's going to happen? Well, they definitely made a run after USC was kicking their tails in their own house. So what are my thoughts about JuJu and Paige? Because I really haven't had a chance to see them play much this season, and I wanted an opportunity to see what they got. We know about the hype. We know about the comparisons. When it comes to JuJu Watkins, we know I did a video the other day where former NBA player and coach George Karl said that JuJu may be better than Caitlin Clark and that she could play in some capacity in the NBA, which is outrageous. But that's what he said. So wanted to tune in, to zone in on JuJu, this sophomore at USC. Also, obviously, Paige, a lot of hype with Paige as well. People saying, Paige Bueckers was Caitlin Clark before Caitlin Clark was Caitlin Clark. That whole thing too, which also is outrageous. But good basketball players, some might even say great basketball players, and they don't really need the comparison to other WNBA players, much less Caitlin Clark. But, let's see what they got, right? So, JuJu, like I said, she came out firing. She took the team, and she was JuJu-ish, right? She was living up to the hype. So she ended up playing 38 minutes. She was 9 of 16 in field goals. She was 3 of 4 from three-pointers. She was 4 of 5 from the free throw line. She had 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks, and she ended with 25 points. Now, let's take a look at what Paige's line is. She did end up with 22 points. If you look at that score, you might think, oh my, they were neck and neck. It wasn't like that at all. Paige Bueckers was like, where are you for much of this game, particularly the first half of this game. She played 36 minutes. Her field goal percentage, she shot 9 for 22. So not so good there. 2 of 8 from three-pointers. Free throws, 2 of 4. She had 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. And like I said, she ended up with 22 points. And she also had 4 personal fouls. So if I were to say, well, who got the better of the two, it was clearly JuJu Watkins when you look at the whole range of the game. But although JuJu was on fire in the beginning and Paige was sort of like, okay, missing in action, a player like that, she's going to come back in the second half and she's going to do some things. That's what great players do. They find a way to make things happen, and she did. But I don't understand all the talk. Like I said, I haven't seen a whole lot of play from her this season, but I did see her before, and I saw her last night, and I can honestly say she looks average to me. I'm not judging her whole ability level based on what I've seen this season. But again, I'm going to say what I said. Judging from what I've seen, She's average. You might say above average, perhaps, but she really did not stand out in the game. And though she got the 22 points, it came hard. Like at halftime, I thought she had 4. I think someone in the live stream said 7. So let's say she had 7 at halftime. We're talking about her being a number 1 draft pick, and people are talking about that. I know that thing has to play out, but a lot of people feel like it's a foregone conclusion that she's going to be the number 1. She seems extremely reticent to me. And I don't know if it's Gino, because sometimes I've heard Gino say, okay, she needs to be more forceful. Other times she needs to let the game come to her. So maybe he's got her all mixed up. I don't know. But I do know she did step up at the end, but I was unimpressed in the beginning of the game for the first half of the game. And toward the end of the game, she was okay. But all this talk and this hype and comparisons and all this stuff, I'm not seeing it yet. Okay. JuJu Watkins, like I said, she came out, her 3-pointer was falling. She was ready to play this game. However, from my perspective, just watching, she's got to work on, I feel, dribbling less. I've said that before. I'm saying it for this game as well. I think she dribbles too much. She falls into the category of being ball hoggish at times from what I see. Now, maybe JuJu is a kind of player who she finds her rhythm by taking a whole lot of dribbles, and she does. She dribbles a whole lot. And for some players, that's how they get a rhythm. They're rhythm players, and they, a couple crossovers, couple through the legs, a little juke and jive, and then they feel it kind of helps them get into a flow. I think as she grows, as she matures, she'll need to do less of that when you're not doing anything per se and not creating. But speaking of creating, I got to say this. I was a huge Kobe Bryant fan. And so I don't go around comparing people to Kobe Bryant. And I'm not making an overall comparison of JuJu Watkins to Kobe Bryant. I will say, though, that she reminds me of him in the way that she can handle the ball and her footwork and her maneuvering. And if you're defending JuJu, you really are on your heels because you're not quite sure what she's going to do. She's got really good hesitation, and her footwork just reminds me of him and the way he played and the way he handled the ball. And you don't quite know, is it going to be a hezzy? Is she going to pull up? Is she going to drive? And then she's got the little foot kick out when she takes a shot, etc. So for someone who's so young, there's exceptional opportunity and potential for her. Hopefully both JuJu and Paige and all these young ladies will play the college game and not buy into all the hype of trying to make them someone they're not. But like Kobe used to say, I don't necessarily want to be the next Jordan. I want to be the first Kobe Bryant. I want to be me. So when I make that comparison to Kobe, it's just in watching how their legs work, how they handle the basketball. And no way am I saying she's in that category. And I'm certainly not guilty of what George Karl is and saying that she's ready to play in the NBA. No, just looking at them as players. Now, the Ross rule. Oh, but before I even get to the Ross rule, I got to say this. UConn made it a game at the end because they were getting blown out. But like we said, it's a game of runs. And, a team like UConn is going to make a run. And so USC should be glad to have gotten out of there with that win, because when you're on the road, you certainly, if you've got this lead, you want to maintain the lead. You want to maintain the momentum. You don't want to cede any ground, because them tell you that crowd was on fire at the end of that game. And, the crowd, that's the sixth man on the court, or the sixth woman on the court in this case. And, USC should take this as a learning experience, because they had a hard time stopping that momentum. So they'll take this, they'll learn from it, and they'll go with it. Now, back to where I interrupted myself. The Ross rule. At the end of the game, obviously USC won the game. They go off into the locker room, and I saw this footage that I want to show you of their celebration in the locker room after defeating UConn. Now, if you don't see a video here that, you know, YouTube can be very picky, very whatever. I mean, sometimes they allow you to show certain videos, sometimes they don't. And so I'm going to attempt to show this video, but if it's when you're watching it, if you don't see the video, then that means I just exchanged it for some photographs that will give you the general idea. Just wanted to put that out there because I don't know what YouTube might do. But I want to show you this, or pictures of it, or video, whichever one you happen to be seeing right now, of how USC responded to defeating UConn on Saturday night. So you see the celebration, the excitement, the water squirting all over the coach and over JuJu and over everyone there. So what's the Ross rule? When you have a team like UConn, when you beat them on the floor, whether you're home or in this case away, you take that loss, you get in line, you shake their hands, whatever, you get with your team, you huddle up, and you walk off the court as you expected to win the game. When you get in the locker room, right? What I saw there in the locker room, that's a team who obviously wanted to be you. I mean, both these teams wanted this win. Make no mistake about it. They know the hype. You know, JuJu wanted to perform. You know, Paige wanted to perform. You know, both teams wanted to win. And USC in particular, because it was UConn who ended their season last season. So it was and they commented on it afterwards. Yeah, it meant something. We're not going to pretend it doesn't. And it's on Fox Sports, so everybody can watch it. That's why I said for Paige, it just wasn't a good showing, particularly in the beginning of the game. Although, like I said, she found a way to get things done. But toward the beginning of the game in particular, it's not how you wanted to start, because of the hype of the game, because of the eyeballs on it, you know. But USC came out on UConn's home court and took care of business early in the game. Almost blew it, but started off really, really strong, which gave them some maneuvering room, which worked out to their benefit by 2 points. Afterwards, in the locker room, they have this huge celebration that you saw. Now, Ross rules. If I'm the coach of this team, that video never, ever makes it to the public view. Never. We might have that celebration behind the closed doors, but nobody ever sees the video footage of that. So why do you say that, Adrienne? They're young women. They're having a good time. Absolutely, they're having a good time. I get it. So you can take this with a grain of salt. I'm giving you my coaching philosophy as someone who coached the game on a high school level only, not in college at all. So I would say even more, I would feel this way even more so in the college level. But anyway, it never leaves there, because your mindset has to be that we are the better team. Your mindset has to be that UConn is not the standard. And when we beat UConn, we have almost this championship title kind of celebration in the locker room. The waters, unless you celebrate like that with every win. Now, I don't know. Maybe they do. I don't think so. But if you celebrate like this with every single win, then hey, let everybody see it. But if this is reserved because of your mindset about UConn, that reveals something. That reveals that this is cause of extra celebration, because you probably don't think that you were expected to beat the team. You treat this team, as far as the public is concerned, like you treat every other team, that you are better prepared, that you have an incredible coach, an incredible player personnel, and you went into Connecticut expecting the win, and it's another win. So, like I said, everybody knows they really wanted this win, right? Everybody knows the deal. So that kind of footage stays in-house. You go ahead and celebrate if you feel the need to celebrate. And that's fine, but nobody gets to see what we saw. That's just my personal perspective, because by doing that, you're saying, yeah, UConn is the standard and we're USC and we should celebrate like we just won a championship because we beat them. And you might disagree with me. If you've coached the game in particular, it'd be interesting to see what you think. But that's just what I think. We can celebrate because we know what's up, but they will never see that we're this excited because we were that tuned in to who they are just because they're UConn. Nah, you don't do that. You don't get to do that. You just say, hey, what's up? You walk on out. As far as the everybody else is concerned. I don't know if I'm explaining myself right, but I know what I mean. And some of you know what I mean as well. But that's just me. That would never be shown around the country or the college ranks, and certainly not for UConn to see at all. So you can chop it up in the comments and share your perspective about the game, about what I just said, about one of the Ross rules. And always do so respectfully. I will catch you next time, God willing. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you've not done so. All right. God bless you abundantly.